the Lieutenant Governor of the state of Louisiana, Mr. Billy Nungesser. Hey, Mr. Billy, how are you? Haven't had you in a while. Thank you for taking time for us.
I'm glad to. How y'all doing this morning?
Let's start with, let's see, how do I want to phrase this? Under the cover of night, the first of the Confederate monuments is unceremoniously removed. You think this is travesty too strong a word?
Well, you know, the first one they took down is the most controversial one. The three to come, I think, is a tragedy on the history. And where does it stop? You know, the group that has pushed for this has already said Jackson is next, and all the way to changing the name of Tulane University. We're trying to undo history. We're making, in my opinion, relations worse when we ought to all be coming together to make the city safer, fix the streets, and do all the things we can to continue to grow the tourism industry. And this is something that didn't need to be done. And everybody shrugs their shoulders and say, why?
The Lee Circle, we're going to change the name of that. We're going to take down Robert E. Lee. Are we going to take Robert E. Lee's name out of history books next?
I'm sure they're going to try to. You know, I'm getting letters from all over the country. I got one from a roofing contractor up north who was coming to New Orleans for a convention with 20 of his different distributors. They have canceled. And he said not only will he not come for this convention, he will urge the organization not to come back to a city that obviously has a mayor and council that wants to undo history.
You know, Mr. Billy, I made the point a couple of times over the last couple of days. I, as a staunch conservative, I believe that local government's better than state, state's better than federal. But if you believe in representative government at the local level, the city council voted 6-1 in New Orleans to take these down. Isn't that democracy at work? Isn't that what the people of New Orleans want?
Well, and privately, some of the council members have said they wish this wouldn't have came before them. And when I spoke in committee last year, trying to get a bill out of committee, some of the people that voted not to let it out of committee wish this wouldn't have came before them. Unfortunately, that group that is pushing this will punish anybody from the minority community that doesn't get on board. Yes, I believe in local government too, but when it affects a state's history, when it affects, and it's not going to stop there. You know, if you take down Jackson Square, one of the most photographed pictures in the world, what do you have? A blank square there. You
just made a hell of a good point. In a politically correct world where the NBA take events out of North Carolina over the bathroom bill, you know what I'm talking about. Do you think that this is just political correctness run amok?
I think we've let in a small group of people that are not going to stop. They are continuing to push and push and push, and it's dividing people. I'm getting letters and calls from people that it's taking the wind out of our sails at a time when we all ought to be pulling in the same direction to improve the city and the state and continue. We had another record year in tourism. Why this? What prompted this by the mayor of New Orleans? I mean, what was the motive behind this? Was it to bring everyone together? It absolutely didn't do that. So it's just unfortunate.
Do you have any legal recourse at all?
I have asked the Attorney General to file suit on our behalf for the historical value of this to the state. There's a lot of back and forth between the attorneys and some of my staff, whether they feel we've got a case. But, you know, I'm getting hundreds of calls a day and emails that I've got to stop this. My legal team is the Attorney General's team. I don't have a team of lawyers that file suit on behalf of the Lieutenant Governor. It's all through the Attorney General's office. So, you know, they're evaluating it, and I've got to adhere to the lawyers that know if we got any grounds to file it. Several lawsuits have gone through the system and failed. So I'm going to leave it to the lawyers. I've made the request. If there's any grounds, we absolutely want to do everything we can to try to stop it. As to this point, we have not filed a suit, and they're looking into whether we've got grounds to even do that.